Jiminy Christmas, and welcome to another off the cuff review. What? What? Guys, hold on. Now, I know I haven't even started, saying anything really, but I mean, if you saw the title, you know what we're going to talk about. You know what this is, okay? I've been doing this, we've been doing this review stuff of the Flash and Arrow and Crisis now. You guys know what's up. This is part 3, and oh my goodness, the best one yet. Every single scene is almost important. Like, you can't peel your eyes away or you'll miss something important. Um, Part 3 is absolutely incredible. Let's dive into it. I am so excited. Time to hit that party button. I'm bringing that back. That light still does not do anything, so but I didn't break it. I need to switch the light bulb. You guys don't care. Told this story before. All right. Might cut that out. Anyways, climactic. So crazy. All right, so Crisis Part 3 kicks off in The Flash, Episode 9, and really this is like the fight of their lives. As we caught up in the last episode, we're now searching for the remaining Paragons. There are supposed to be 7 Paragons that's going to be able to defeat the Anti-Monitor. And so Ray Palmer's been working on a machine to find them all. And he's been having some trouble. He got it to work to find the Paragon of Courage at the end of the last episode, but it since has not been working. And he's trying to get it fixed and get that up and running to find the rest of the Paragons. And so while that's kind of happening, the rest of the team is kind of deciding what they're going to do next. And they've decided that they need to pull all the other Earths, any of the other remaining Earths. They want to get everybody to Earth 1 because they've realized that Earth 1, even in Part 1, they've kind of depicted that Earth 1 is kind of the last Earth to be deleted. So they've decided that part of the team is going to go to the rest of the remaining Earths and try and get everybody to Earth 1, save as many people as they can. So Superman, Ray Palmer's doppelganger, is going to go with the Martian, and the Martian's going to keep everybody psychically linked so that they can remain in contact with the Wave Rider as they go and protect or try and save as many people as they can. And Lois will remain on comms and help, plan all of that. So that's kind of plan numero uno. The rest is figuring out this Paragon machine, and Supergirl wants to try and figure out a way to bring her Earth back and everybody else that has been lost. And she kind of has this crazy idea that that's going to be the Book of Destiny, even though we've kind of discussed already that the book requires such amount of willpower and focus that to create a whole world like that would drive you crazy. Even somebody as powerful as Supergirl, the book just it isn't meant for that type of scale. So she's kind of dealing with this idea that that's her only, she's the paragon of hope. She can hope that it'll work out. That's kind of her thought process and all of this. While then, what's really cool is just because we were on The Flash, we get the Flash characters to come in and hang out for Crisis and do their part. So Cisco, I love Cisco, Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost, and Elongated Man all come through the portal. Of course, Iris is already with them as well. She's been helping since Part 2 of Crisis. She was the one that helped find Superman, the Paragon of Truth. So they're kind of all there. Cisco just kills the room as soon as he comes in. He goes over and helps fix the Paragon machine, and they're able to find out. But he just every line is just it's like he should have been there the whole time. He gets the first part. He kind of jumps in. and they fix the Paragon machine, and they're about to turn it on, and the first four names appear, the four names we already know. Kar Zor-El, the Paragon of Hope, Batgirl, the Paragon of Courage. Then there was Sarah Lance, the Paragon of Destiny, and what was the fourth one? And Superman, the Paragon of Truth. So those four. And Batwoman kind of goes, we already know this. And Cisco's like, it's buffering. Patience, please. Like, it's brilliant. I love Cisco. He also like has a few quirks of like the few names that has like popped up. Like they discuss the anti-monitor, and he's like, so are we just throwing names out there without consulting me anymore? Like, I'm the name guy. What's happening? Just a few pieces like that. When he first jumps in, he sees Ray Palmer and his doppelganger Superman, and he's kind of like, whoa. Super doppelgangers. That's weird. And so he just kind of Cisco is just, we can all agree, he just adds a moment of commentary and a good relief to the rest of the team. And so it's nice to kind of have him on there. And so let's just talk about him for a moment and his kind of trajectory. He gets to become Vibe again. The Monitor, I guess, has some kind of, there's only a handful of Earths left, so the Monitor can't be, that powerful, but I guess he does have enough, let's call it, magical mojo or enough life force or whatever to at least give Cisco his powers back, which Cisco's like, you can't, I gave him away for a reason, like, you don't understand, I don't have my powers, and he's like, I don't care, you're gonna be Vibe again, Alakazam, you're Vibe, and he's like, oh, dang it. So I do not know if this means that he is permanently Vibe or if he's just going to be Vibe throughout Crisis. I even said in my other Flash reviews that I really wanted Cisco to get his powers back. He had just started to really use them and utilize them and make him a part of who he is. And then he gave them up, which was kind of a bummer. But hopefully we'll kind of see Vibe come back after this. But so we do have Vibe back, which is good. And we find out the rest of the 7 Paragons being the Martian, which is the Paragon of Honor, the Flash, of course he was going to be a Paragon, he's the Paragon of Love, and then there's another person that's actually not a superhero, and his name is Ryan Choi, and he's a scientist on Earth-1, and he's the Paragon of Humanity, and I really like this Paragon. Not like the character is awesome, and he's a character that we, for those of you who've watched Supernatural, will get a key reminder of. He plays a kind of a long role in that, and I'll let you guys kind of watch it and go, enjoy that for yourselves. But it's an interesting Paragon because he's not a superhero. In fact, he's kind of just a scientist that works in I think it's Star City. He works in Star City, and he just basically he's newly married. He's got a new kid. He is, by all sense of purposes, just a regular human. And it is very interesting the way they tie in that purpose to Crisis. So that is basically becomes the other part of the team's mission is to go get Ryan Choi. Now that they've discovered who all 7 of the Paragons are, the Martian and Superman and Lois will go lead a team to gather anybody else from all the other Earths. We have Iris, Elongated Man, and Ray Palmer are going to go get go get Ryan Choi, the Paragon of Humanity. And the Flash, Cisco, and Killer Frost are actually going to go find the antimatter wave. So it was actually Cisco was doing some kind of side work while once the Paragon machine and everything was fixed, he kind of did some side work and realized that the antimatter wave or the antimatter wave is actually being created or pulsated out from Earth. From Earth-1, which makes way more sense because that Earth 1 is the last Earth that's going to get destroyed. So makes sense that it would be there. So Flash, Killer Frost, and Cisco kind of breach to Earth 1 to back to that door. This is where that door is going to come into place. And what I mean by door is at the ending of episodes 8 for The Flash and Arrow, basically right before Crisis, Nash Wells opened up a door on December 9th at 11:58. It was super important. He opened up that door and he got like sucked into it, and we all thought that he was there trying to expose the Monitor. And that turns out to be a completely different story, because he did hint at in Crisis Part 1 at the end when he pops back in and he's now Pariah. He's basically stated that he released the anti-Monitor and he's the cause for all of this destruction. And so they kind of go there to that door, and sure enough, Pariah shows up, and he very foreshadowing. He's very much here to be like, I am no longer Nash, I am Pariah, and I am here to witness great tragedy. And they're kind of like, what is he talking about? And because as Pariah, he has no knowledge of he's missing a lot of his memories from being Nash Wells, which is one of the reasons why needed to become Cisco needed to become Vibe, because he can vibe memories. He can vibe, the past. He can vibe what happened. So even though Pariah doesn't have access to his memories, Vibe can still get those memories and kind of see what's been going on and how to get through that door. And it turns out that door is actually the door basically to the antimatter universe. It is the door that allowed the anti-monitor to gain a foothold in their reality or this reality and start causing all of this destruction. So Nash did it all. I mean, he really is like the underlying lackey, in all intents and purposes. He didn't do it on purpose. It was not he was trying to expose the Monitor. He thought the Monitor was a false god and wanted to make sure that, we weren't following and worshiping, his directions or his orders just because he had, strange powers and abilities. But he basically states that it was all the anti-Monitor. He's been the whole time that we've seen Nash Wells in The Flash trying to solve the Monitor, trying to find the Monitor. He's actually been being manipulated by the anti-Monitor, being pulled by his will to get to that door, to open it so the anti-Monitor could get through and come to this reality. So Nash Wells he's not a hero. He is the cause. He is the absolute cause for all of Crisis. Whoa. So I was not expecting that. I really thought that doorway was going to be him going to the past. And him going back all the way to where the Monitor was basically created. I really thought that door was going to be a doorway to the past, a doorway to the Monitor. Turns out it was the door to the freaking anti-Monitor. But sorry, Nash, that really blows. Spend all that time trying to find something and then you be the reason for trillions and trillions of deaths, and now for you to have to bear witness to all of that, even though it wasn't your choice, I mean, you still, that's a burden to bear. That's ridiculous. And then for him to be trapped and have to watch that, pretty crazy. So they, of course, figure out a way to get through the door, and they realize that door leads them into basically a nexus that is between both their world and the antimatter world. And it's in this space where the origination of the antimatter wave is coming from. Um, and so they kind of all enter the room, and they see this giant device, and they see the wave, and they see this blur, like going back and forth, going back and forth. I'm going to pause it right there and get back to that in just a moment, because I want to kind of go bring you into what all the other kind of characters are up to up until that point. Because that's where kind of everything goes cuckoo for the Cocoa Puffs. So back on the Wave Rider, we have a couple things going on. Let's start off with Supergirl, who is trying to use the Book of Destiny. Come on, man. You gotta know by now. Like, the book, you haven't trusted the Monitor thus far. The book comes from the Monitor. Everybody, even not just Lex and not just the Monitor, but other heroes have told you to not use the book, and she is still so fixated. And on the one hand, I get it, because it's like, what other options do you have? And you're supposed to be this paragon of hope, which you believe you really don't have any. This is the only solution you see. So her Batgirl, I know I keep saying them both, but so she kind of goes with Supergirl and they go and confront Lex, and they're like, Lex, how did you use the book? Tell me how you use the book. I want to bring my world back. And Lex is like, you can't do that. You're gonna go cuckoo. I actually, now I don't really know, but I've watched episode, like part 1, part 2, and part 3 thus far. And Lex Luthor came to us in episode 2, and I didn't really like him. Of course not. He's Lex. You're not supposed to like Lex Luthor. But the more you kind of watch him, he's a super cool character. I mean, his intellect, his bravado, it's very interesting. He's not. And the thing about Lex that's really interesting is, yes, he is a villain, but his perspective of it is he's not a villain. He's just trying to protect the Earth from a potential threat, which he believes to be Superman. Somebody shouldn't have that amount of powers and abilities, and he thinks it's his job to stop that and protect the world or whatever in his kind of crazy intellectual view. And of course he does other shady stuff, but for the most part, that's kind of his sense. His sense is he's on, the people's side. As a matter of fact, he wants them to win. Like, he doesn't want all the worlds to die. Like, he's not that evil. He just doesn't want there to be any Superman there when the worlds come back. So it's kind of that balance there. But he's basically like, you guys don't know. You use the book, you drive yourself crazy just like Deegan did, and you guys are lame, so don't do it. And so they're like, whatever, we're gonna do it anyways. But the person who's actually listening is Batwoman. Batwoman's like, no, he's right. Like, you're gonna go crazy. Like, and so she's gonna have to be the one to stop Supergirl from using the book. And the way that she's going to do that is we see that, and we did see a little of this in part 2. I don't think I mentioned it, but Batwoman or Kate Kane grabbed the kryptonite from Batman on the future Earth. She has kryptonite with her now. And so she like kind of opens it up, and she thinks, oh my goodness, I might have to use this to stop Supergirl. And they kind of do a confrontation, because Supergirl is going to use the book. Like, unless somebody tells her no, she's going straight for the book. She doesn't care what Lex says, what the Monitor says. She doesn't trust any of them. She's going to go for it. So she goes to open the book, and Batwoman's like, whoa, don't think so, girlfriend, not today. I will stop you if you open that book. And what she says is actually, like, out of all the things to say, it's one of those things that you kind of, you get to show that different perspective and open somebody's eyes up to a different way of thinking, which is pretty powerful, even for somebody as powerful as Supergirl, for someone to be able to shift their perspective and get them to see a problem in a different light. was awesome. It was incredibly awesome, because Batwoman basically goes like, look, you may open up that book, it might actually work, but what if it doesn't? You have to think of that possibility. You are a paragon. If you die, everything is lost. If any of the 7 get killed, there's no more 7 paragons. There's not enough of a force to stop the anti-monitor. Like, she's like, you have to think of a bigger picture. You want to bring back one Earth, or do you want to save everything? And if you can't save your Earth and you fail in the process and get lost, we're all doomed. And she's like, I'm not going to let you do that. And Supergirl's like, you're human. You can't stop me. And she looks her square in the face, and Kate basically looks her square in the eyes and goes, I will stop you. You'll be surprised at what I can do. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The people who put on the Bat costume, they're not weak. Just because they're human does not make them not any less a superhero, and not less to be able to go toe to toe with any superheroes. So that was pretty awesome. And so basically Supergirl goes, you know what, like, you're right, I can't do that, we have to find another way. And so that kind of dissipates. Thank you. Who knows what could have happened if she opened up that book and tried messing with stuff. So thank you for not doing that. We also get a little piece of the Monitor and kind of his almost emotion to this crisis and to his adversary, and kind of all that's transpired as well. We see that Lois and Superman, the Paragon Superman, not her Superman, is out there trying to collect all the people to bring them back to Earth 1, and the Monitor goes and kind of chats with Lois and is like, I'm the reason for all of this. I spent too much time on my work and not enough time on my family. And, I know why now you're such a great reporter, but he kind of has this moment of reflection looking back at what he lost through all of this. Because it's been, he's lived forever. I mean, who knows how long ago his family died, and for him to still be holding that guilt and still be reconciling with that was pretty powerful, and almost made him redeemful for me. But there's still just this little bit of, I don't know about you, So there's kind of that going on. Now, that's kind of what the rest of the team is going on. There's a few pieces of that were kind of important, especially, the Monitor. And we kind of get to understand that while, Barry and everybody is in this nexus, all the other Earths except for Earth 1 is now destroyed, or becomes destroyed. I mean, they're losing Earths like gone, just gone, gone. Like, Superman can't save anybody fast enough. They're just gone. So they've got some issues there. So back into that room, let's go back into the kind of the critical moments here. They're at the antimatter wave. And they see this blur running back and forth. And of course, they all think somebody's moving inside of there. And you instantly are like, is that Flash? Is that another speedster? What is... it's obviously a speedster of some sort. And sure enough, the Flash starts running in his, like, his speed, but, to us, everything kind of slows down. And he kind of sees Barry Allen from Earth 90, the Flash that couldn't stop the Book of Destiny and the Elseworlds crossover event. He got teleported away by the Monitor, and it's super interesting. This is why as soon as the Monitor redeemed, he went right back to square one. Because what's interesting here is you have the Monitor teleported the Flash away. What apparently happened is he got teleported into like a nether world, a nether verse, that a place where the anti-Monitor could get to, and actually grabbed the Flash and roped him in and actually created this antimatter wave cannon that uses the Flash's speed as a power source. And you're thinking, wait a minute, how? So in the last episode, I discussed how, I kind of think that as the Anti-Monitor gets stronger, he's just pulling all the good from the Harbinger and the Monitor just down towards him. So while I don't believe the Monitor's like being evil, I think he's just being more susceptible to rash kind of decisions. And I don't think, I think when he teleported the Flash away, he just wasn't, he either wasn't paying attention to where he teleported him to, or he was somehow being manipulated, or he wasn't strong enough to teleport the Flash to where he actually was trying to send them, and the Anti-Monitor was able to intercept. Either way, it's kind of like, well, for as much good as you're doing, you're also like the cause for all of this. Like for as much as he's trying to prepare everyone, he's equally like, dissolving that. It's just, I don't know why. It's just what I keep seeing. Hopefully part 4 and part 5 will kind of dive more into the Monitor, and I can get a better sense of his true character here. So, this Earth 90 Barry is trapped on the basically a treadmill, powering this device that's wiping everything away. And this is the exact reason why Vibe is back, because of the wave that it's created around the Flash. It's all antimatter, and of course any of their positive matter or whatever, because they have no antimatter in them. Nobody, not even the Flash, can get to Barry, to that Earth 90 Barry, and get him off the treadmill. But Vibe, because of the vibrational frequencies, can put a breach on the treadmill and breach that Barry off the treadmill, which of course they do, and everything's fantastic. However, immediately everything starts to go to hell because, of course, the Anti-Monitor created a failsafe that when that happened, the thing was just going to explode and kill everything anyways. So Earth 90 Flash is like, I need to get back on there or we're all going to die. Hurrah, hurrah. All of a sudden, Pariah's not there anymore. Shocker. So he's gone. But then all of a sudden, a portal opens up and we get to see Black Lightning. Black Lightning shows up from his Earth, and it turns out that Pariah is actually able to go save him and pull him to help in this crisis. Because it's interesting, Pariah, he's trapped. And to a certain degree, he needs to go watch tragedy, but he seems to have some sort of free will to be able to do some things. And he's even mentioned that if they can shut down this antimatter wave, he'll be free from the Anti-Monitor. So he kind of was able to, I think because he can only show up during tragedy. I think he was able to go to that world that was about to be destroyed where Black Lightning was on and teleport him away, because he was still witnessing tragedy, but he was able to do something very small, which is, teleport just one person away, and hopefully, because it's such a small thing, the Anti-Monitor wouldn't really realize what was happening. And Black Lightning actually has Black Lightning and the Flash. Whoa. One, that's going to be an amazing crossover event. One day you can tell that these two characters, they get along really well. In fact, Barry, because Black Lightning shows up and he's like, what's happening? Send me back to my Earth. Why am I here? And Pariah's like, your Earth is gone. Everybody you know is gone. You're alone. I brought you here to save humanity. And really powerful. He's just like, what? Like, you should have saved my family. Like, don't save me, save my family. And, Barry kind of gets to have this moment, and he kind of gets to have a heart to heart with Black Lightning. And he goes, look, I can't imagine what you're going through, but I've lost family too. But we have a chance here to save everything else, and we need your help. I can't imagine what you're going through, but please, can you put that aside and just help us save whatever's left? And it kind of gets Black Lightning to go, you know what? All right, I don't like you, Pariah, but you in the red suit, because they don't really know who he is. They've never really met before. He's like, what do you need me to do? And he's like, we need you to contain all of this electrical energy for this machine to buy us enough time to figure out how to destroy it. And so, he kind of plays a critical role there in the end, buying them enough time. And they realize that the only way to stop the antimatter wave is for Barry to get on the treadmill and run the opposite direction, funnel all the energy back into the machine, and destroy the machine. But that's also going to destroy Barry in the process. And he realizes that this is where he's going to need to leave. This is his path, what he's been training for. This is where Flash disappears in Crisis. The article, everything that we've seen since season 1, this is where he's going to go. And it's very interesting because, Iris is sent, of course, like I mentioned, to go get Ryan Choi. And so they separate, but they kind of get this last moment and kind of empowers themselves to go do what they need to do. And they get to have this last kind of moment of, what if this is it? What if this is, stopping this wave is how I die in Crisis? And Iris is like, if that's the case, I don't want to go get Ryan. I want to be with you to the very end, And Barry's like, you can't. You've got to be the one to convince Ryan. You have to show him that humanity is important, and that humans are the reason why superheroes do anything. And you need to go show that to Ryan, so Ryan can come and help protect the rest of the multiverse and save the multiverse. And it's super interesting for them to kind of have this last moment, but for them both realize that they need to separate, but this is also kind of their goodbye as well, or could be their goodbye. And Barry's like, I'll always try and run back to you, but, I might have to go in this crisis. And you're thinking, we're not going to lose Arrow and the Flash. Like, you can't do that to me. You can't do that to us. Like, that's too much. And so, but you're there and you're like, this is it. This is how he's going to go. Now, luckily, there's another Flash. And luckily, Earth 90 Flash, he's already lost everything. There's nothing left for him to do. He's destroyed all of these Earths. I mean, he's been the battery for this antimatter wave. Like, the guilt that he'll have, he'll never be able to get over it. And so I think he kind of realizes that it can be him that dies in Crisis and him that vanishes to save everything, because he's already lost everything, and he can give this Barry a chance to continue to run. He's at his last race. He's been running for 30 years. And this, of course, is the Flash from the original Flash show, I believe back in the 80s. And of course, he's played, Barry's dad, and he's played a few doppelgangers throughout being the Flash. He was the Flash on Earth 3. He's the Flash from Earth 90. He plays Barry's dad. So he's had a big role, and for him to kind of have this last moment as his true character, how he all started this way back in the 80s with the Flash TV show. He kind of gets to vanish in Crisis and stop the antimatter wave by stealing temporarily Barry's speed, which is really cool. I really love when they give like new speedster abilities, because he's just like, if you've been running as long as I have, you learn a few tricks and you're able to like steal somebody's speed temporarily. And I was like, that's awesome. And Barry just like, because he's losing all of his, ability or whatever. And Vibe has to make this choice of sending Earth 90 Barry in there and sacrificing him. And he does so. He almost does so without question. Because this is what he wants. This is what Earth 90 Flash wants, And he's able to, tell Black Lightning, thank you so much. You're a hero in your own rights. This couldn't have been possible without you. And so Vibe vibes him onto the treadmill. And that's it. He dies and stops the antimatter wave, and the Flash lives. Our Flash lives. Our Barry Allen gets another chance. So hopefully he doesn't. I mean, there's still 2 more parts. It doesn't mean he still can't vanish. But as far as right now, he's still there, and he gets to go back to Iris, and they get to have one last a moment together, and it's awesome. I'm like, yes, vibes back. Flash isn't gone. The wave has stopped. Earth 1 is still alive. There's hope. There's finally, they finally have, an uptick here, which is awesome. And so while that's kind of going on, we're really critical to kind of bring Oliver is back. Not really. I want that to be the case. I really do. But they try to go get Oliver's soul, because as we saw with Oliver, he was in the Lazarus pit. They brought back his body, but they couldn't bring back his soul because John Constantine lost his powers or his magic due to all the antimatter. Now, what's interesting here, or what's awesome is, and one thing that I was really upset with is Diggle, Oliver's best friend, wasn't with him at the end. He promised his friend that he would be there, that his brother, and he would have his back to the end of Crisis. And Diggle wasn't there when Oliver died. And it was one thing I was very upset with. And Diggle kind of gets to see what's going on, and he wants to be a part of it in any way. He's like, I wasn't there for Crisis. I want to be the one to bring back his soul. I kind of, have a little bit of experience in this well house. So he's going to go with Mia, Oliver's daughter, my apologies, and John Constantine, and they're going to go find a way to Purgatory and get Oliver's soul back. And so, and by the way, during that little meeting, Diggle figures out that the Harbinger is gone. The whole team kind of figures out the Harbinger has been missing. We don't know where she is. And of course, the Monitor believes she's already with the Anti-Monitor. So we know that's going on. Wow, guys. I mean, it's crazy. There's so much in this episode. And it's all just so freaking good. So how are they going to get to Purgatory? How are they going to do it? Well, they're going to go to right before, they kind of get, to where I got to kind of in the storyline with the Anti-Monitor wave and all that kind of stuff. While there's still a few Earths left, there was about 7, towards the end. And while right before the last 6 kind of go, they're able to briefly go to one Earth 666, and meet a good old friend of John Constantine's. I say it that way for a reason. They meet Lucifer from the actual TV show Lucifer, and because he is the devil and he does have access to, he kind of understands the multiverse and understands that, everything's going, but, he's fine. I mean, he's got his own, kind of playing field. He can go, to Purgatory. That's a completely separate realm, completely separate area. So he gives them the ability to go into Purgatory. Very funny scene. I love that character. I love that actor. He's got a few kind of moments, but the big one is like, get out of here, you humans. I'm done helping you. It's been a pleasure, John Constantine. And he's like, it's John Constantine. He's like, I don't give a shit. And he just like slams the door. It's hilarious. But anyways, it gives them the card to get to Purgatory to find Oliver. Who is, of course, only in you. That's his own personal kind of hell. And they find him. And the big things here are Diggle gets to say his goodbye. He gets to be like, I wasn't there for you in Crisis. I'm here for you now, man. Come back with us. Come back with us. Come live again. And, Oliver's like, oh my goodness, Diggle, you're here. Thank you so much. Mia, you came too. Everything's great. And then this cop guy shows up and is like, hey, I was a hero too, and I was called to a higher purpose. Oliver, you are being called to that same higher purpose. You need to you can't live again. You need to come, come do this. You are the spark that will save humanity. And of course, Oliver is instantly like, okay, this is clearly my mission. This is what I have to do. Turns around and just goes, peace. Like, hey, thanks for coming, but bye. And they really don't get a chance to say goodbye. He just kind of is like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. John Constantine, you're awesome. And then he turns back around, and that's it. They get sent back. They get sent back to the Wave Rider, and he's left to become whatever it is he's to become. We don't really know. Hopefully they'll dive back into that in the next part. So now everybody's kind of back on the Wave Rider. Anti-Monitor Wave's been destroyed. They couldn't save Oliver. They're down to one Earth. Everything else is destroyed. And so, great. They saved something. They've got whatever, they've saved as many as they could save. They have all the Paragons there. Pariah is there. Everybody, the Monitor's there. Everybody's kind of there. And sure enough, Harbinger shows up too. And we're like, hey, look, Harbinger. Yeah, awesome. Hey, wait a minute. Harbinger, Pariah, where has Harbinger been this whole time? And she's like, I don't know. I was on Earth, kind of fuzzy, don't really remember. And you're like, all right, that's fishy. And you see Pariah there, and then all of a sudden, kind of everybody starts piecing things together and going, hey, wait a minute. Pariah only shows up when great tragedy is about to happen. Harbinger's probably being manipulated from the Anti-Monitor probably since the moment she became Harbinger. I mean, there's almost no question that almost throughout the whole thing of Crisis, like with all the whispers with the book, I mean, even at the end of part 2, she was already with the Anti-Monitor. Maybe even in part 1, because she didn't bring that many heroes to stop the antimatter wave from Earth 38 in part 1 of Crisis. Maybe, the Anti-Monitor was limiting how many people she could even bring. So who knows? I mean, the Anti-Monitor could have had a hold on the Harbinger since day 1 pretty much. And clearly Harbinger is no longer Harbinger. Harbinger has completely been taken over by the Anti-Monitor, who now is at like almost pinnacle strength. There's only one Earth left, so that means everything else has been destroyed, which he's absorbed all of that power. And so we find out the Harbinger is now the Anti-Monitor, and he just takes everybody to the cleaners. I mean, he destroys Diggle, because of course Diggle's like, hey, Lila, my wife, ha ha ha. And he's like, not my wife. And boom! And then like Superman comes up and just with one arm just flings him to the other side of the room. And so clearly you're like, this guy, and then he just brings everybody to their knees. Like with just bruh, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, and everybody just falls to their knees, and basically it's now the Anti-Monitor speaking through Harbinger. It's like, I am here to end the days of heroes. Everything will go to black, and you're just like, oh my good, like this is it. Like everybody's down, and then the Anti-Monitor destroys the Monitor. They get into a little tiffy. The Monitor basically has no strength now, but he is able to tell Pariah, he's like, Pariah, you can do one thing here. You'll know what it is when the time is right. And he's like, what? There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to send these people that the Anti-Monitor can't find. There's nothing left. What are you talking about? And so the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor kind of have this fight, and they kind of have their last words, which is like the Anti-Monitor is like, this was inevitable. I'm here to to destroy you. And they use kind of their real names. He goes Mor Navu, which is the Monitor, and he goes Morbius, which is the Anti-Monitor. He's like, Morbius, I shouldn't have created you in the first place. And you're like, what? Or he shouldn't have been created in the first place, something like that. And you're like, all right, well, it makes total sense because they look like opposites. So we do know that, I mean, there's got to be, Monitor has to be somewhat involved in the creation of the Anti-Monitor somehow, some way. But basically, the Anti-Monitor destroys the Monitor, and then he basically just destroys Earth-1 with basically a Thanos snap. And now it's basically just the heroes and a few humans on the Wave Rider, and that's it. And the Anti-Monitor's like, I won. You guys all are suck. You guys are all beaten. And this is it. And then all of a sudden, Pariah goes, ding, 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 ding. I know exactly what to do. And teleports the 7 Paragons away. Can't save everybody, you know what I mean? At least save the 7 that could, save everybody. And so they all get teleported away, and you're going, where did they go? Where in the universe was left for them to, where else can they go? So they disappear, and even the Anti-Monitor's like, where did you send them? And the rest of the heroes on the Wave Rider is like, look, man, you might have won, but they've survived, and they'll fight to their last breath to defeat you. And so, then the Anti-Monitor's like, yeah, whatever. Snap, destroys the Wave Rider, destroys everybody else, and now everything is gone. Everything. Except for the 7 Paragons, which show up in the one place that I didn't think, the perfect place, the Vanishing Point. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Vanishing Point was a big thing in Legends of Tomorrow. It's a place that exists outside of time and space. They destroyed the place. The facility, it was a place where all like the time cops or time lords or whatever ran all their operations, and they could view all of time from a place outside of time and space. A perfect place for where the Anti-Monitor can't get to. And so those 7 Paragons show up, and that's it. That's all that's left of humanity is just the 7. You've got Superman, the Paragon of Truth. You've got Supergirl, the Paragon of Hope. You got Kate Kane or Batwoman or Batgirl. I know I've said all 4 or 3 or whatever. She's the Paragon of Courage. You got Barry Allen, the Paragon of Love. Ryan Cho, Humanity. The Martian is Honor, and Sarah Lance as Destiny. And so you have all 7 of them there. And then one last thing, if just in case we weren't reeling enough from everybody being dead, the Anti-Monitor basically winning, only having the 7 Paragons trapped in a place they can't leave, because where are they going to go? There's no Earths for them to travel to. There's no way for them to even get to the Anti-Monitor because there's nothing left. Where are they? What are they going to do? So it's great that they're alive, but Pariah got destroyed. Everybody's been destroyed. It's only the 7 Paragons. That's it. And all of humanity, the universes, everything, it is just those 7. What are they going to? They can't. None of them can. Maybe I have no idea. There is no options for them. So just when you think all hope is lost in and itself, the last 7 are there. Maybe they can come up with something, but in all intents and purposes, everybody else is gone. Superman, the Paragon of Truth, starts dying on everybody. And you're like, are you kidding me? What is happening? All this red light just starts shooting out of him. And he starts falling to the ground, and he's scared. He's like, help me. Somebody, say, I don't want to go. I want to save, Crisis. I want to be here. And all of a sudden this red light kind of burst, and he's gone, but somebody else is in his place. And ding, 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 Lex frickin' Luthor pops in, and everyone's like, hold on, what? What are you doing here? And Lex, pure genius, just goes, yeah. Remember when I had the Book of Destiny, you dum-dums? I read it, saw all you guys at the end here and thought, I need to be a part of this. And so he takes out a little piece of paper of the Book of Destiny where he's literally just crossed off Superman and just wrote in Lex Luthor. Like he was just like, nope, and I'm going to be here now. And you're like, great. So now they've lost a Superman, now they've lost a Kryptonian, and they've gained Lex Luthor, who will undoubtedly try and do something to his own personal gain, and kind of disrupts the whole kit and caboodle here. And you're kind of going, yep, classic Lex. I get it. I'm not happy about it, but I get it, and I kind of like him, so I'm just a little bit happy. But I do miss Superman. That will be sad. It was nice to see Ray Palmer's doppelganger as Superman and his kind of triumphs. But we got Lex. Whew, man, guys. I don't know what they're gonna do. Do you guys have any ideas? I'm fresh out. Where are they going to go? They have nowhere to go. Maybe Barry can jump into the Speed Force, but I mean, everything's been erased. I mean, it wasn't just like what the Monitor's been saying is like, it's not just every Earth. It's reality itself. There is no, it's everything. Past, future, present, all gone. Like, is there anything for him to run back to? I hope so. But there is still, well, now hold on. Now that we're talking it out a little bit, there is Oliver Queen. He's dead, but he's going to become something else, or about to become something else. And maybe he can help the Paragons in some fashion, depending on what it is he's supposed to become. So let's, hopefully, so it picks up at Arrow episode 9, clearly, because now it's going to be all about what happens to Arrow and who he's about to become, and what the 7 Paragons are going to be doing in the Vanishing Point. So, wow. Good job, Anti-Monitor, for destroying everything and realizing your dreams. You're basically almost there. You've won for all intents and purposes, at least in your eyes. Don't know what you're doing or kind of what you do from here, because you destroyed Pariah. I don't think, and Pariah probably wouldn't even tell you where he sent them, and you probably don't care that much because everything else is destroyed. Kind of just like a villain to leave like 1 or 2 stragglers around because, 1, he can't get to them, and 2, what are they going to do? Everything's been destroyed. There's nothing for them to come back to. So maybe he's probably just like, whatever, like, even if they do come back, I'll just blink them out of existence. Like, I'm all powerful now. Everything's darkness. I've won, So I have no idea where they're going to go with it, but super interesting stuff. Maybe we'll see some time traveling or some aspect of that. They do still have Barry Allen. Hopefully the Speed Force is still there. Hopefully that's something that isn't really a part of time. So I don't know. Comment down below on what you guys think. Part 3 was explosive. It was very serious. Every scene was very climactic. We got through a lot of kind of stuff. But comment down below on what your favorite part of part 3 was, favorite cameo, and we'll see you guys all next time for part 4. How are they going to solve Crisis and save humanity? Tune in till next time. Later, guys.